and she's his most determined student. She wants more out of life, and nothing is going to stand in her way. Not her husband, nothing.
So, a year or so ago, I decided to just put a random video out there showcasing my top 5 films for students. I didn't expect many to watch it, but we're almost at 100,000 views. So, I wanted to do a follow-up with 5 more films for students, this time perhaps placing more emphasis, I think, on students overcoming barriers such as disadvantaged backgrounds. My name's Joshua. I've been creating a whole series on this now, so if you want to see top 5 films for criminology, top 5 films for law, for finance, for World War II, and almost anything right now I'm willing to do, so just comment below if you want me to do a particular video. Otherwise, let's get into this video.
That's the thing. Your parents are your gods. I looked at them as an example of what I should find everywhere in the world. They paid so little attention to my needs.
So, Homeless to Harvard promises exactly what's in the title. However, with this being a true story, you're really into a hard to watch film that has you feeling motivated and maybe also adds perspective to your life. Here we have Liz Murray, who comes from an extremely dysfunctional family in New York. She doesn't have access to some of the basic requirements to life. Parents are both drug addicts, and there is some horrific events in her family's past. All of these elements are huge barriers to education. However, a particularly devastating event wakes up the character Liz Murray to the fact that her life could have the same fate unless she starts to do something about it. Now, this is not giving anything away, it's in the title of the film, but she does go from being homeless to going to Harvard. In a way, I enjoy that we know the outcome. It's a film that we can watch to find our own motivation, and also, as I said, to add perspective to our own lives if we're perhaps taking our own lives for granted. But if you're someone who can relate to the disadvantages Liz Murray has, then this film could also be powerful in giving you hope and inspiration in finding success in your life too. Highly recommended.
I've been thinking of the Royal Ballet School.
Aren't you a bit old, miss?
Not me, you.
The Royal Ballet? Have you any idea what we're going through?
Alright, hear me out on this one. I want to be inclusive. I don't want to just include academics. Some people want to find success in other areas of life, such as, being an artist, being involved in sports. In Billy Elliot's case, he wants to be a dancer, particularly a ballet dancer. Now, Billy Elliot is an 11-year-old boy living in Durham in the UK who aspires to become a professional ballet dancer. However, he faces backlash from his widowed father and masculine brother, who are both coal miners on strike, for expressing an interest in ballet instead of, some sort of manly sport like boxing or football. Despite this, his ballet teacher sees potential in him and continues to teach him in secret, preparing him to audition for the Royal Ballet School in London, despite his father forbidding him from taking dancing lessons. This is a spirited film, and it chronicles his struggles and shows us that achieving our dreams doesn't come without its challenges, but with perseverance, the results may be worth the pain and effort. Now, admittedly, times have changed since I believe the 1980s, and this story probably doesn't strike us as much as it would back then, but I still think you can find motivation and inspiration from a heartwarming story of a boy finding a passion and embracing it, overcoming any and every obstacle he can to see it through. I still think this is a situation a lot of us find us in, as is the case with my number 1 film.
I would like to talk about this that you sent me.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Well, now, in reply to the question, suggest how you would resolve the staging difficulties inherent in a production of Ibsen's Peer Gynt. You have written, quote, do it on the radio, unquote.
Yeah.
Well?
Well, what?
Well, I know it's probably quite naive of me, but I did think you might let me have a considered essay.
Yeah, well, that's all I could do in the time. We were dead busy in the shop this week.
I was really surprised when I first heard about Educating Rita and how I've never heard of it. It's a fantastic film that I think will relate to women out there who may feel that the expectancy of women to bear children and be in the home is still apparent in 2020, which of course it still is. Although times have changed since the 1980s, I do think in parts of the country where teenage pregnancies can be high, you can find young girls not feeling optimistic about the future and unsure how education can help them. This film shows a character, Rita, although her name I think is actually Susan in the film, is dissatisfied with a routine of work and social life. It's all a little bit boring and she's scared about this becoming her life. She's also thinking, if I have a child, then this definitely will be my life forever. She is looking for opportunity to better herself and find more meaning to her life. This is where she signs up for an open university course in English literature. For anyone not from the UK listening, open university means studying from home. Here she meets a university professor played by Michael Caine, who himself is going through a difficult time, but together they both find a new zest for life through a passion of literature, giving each other hope that their life is far from over and there is still much to be explored, experienced, achieved. In other words, they find that life still has a lot to offer and education is a huge reason for that. Educating Rita will breathe new life into your own desire to better yourself and find independence in your own search for meaning in how you spend your life. I think the ending of the film is interesting, so let me know if you do watch it in the comments what your thoughts are.
Do you have any place to stay tonight? Don't you dare lie to me.
Was this a bad idea?
What's the big deal? It's just for one night. It is just for one night, right, Leanne?
Nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards, this is another story of homelessness, but I do think it's a little bit different to the film Homeless to Harvard, and this is why I picked the film. Our character, Michael O'Hare, is adopted. Now, I've studied education at university, and children who are adopted, who are in foster care, tend to have a difficult time in education, whether they're homeless or not. Now, the character itself, from being sort of mixed between homelessness and being adopted, it does carry many difficulties and many aspects that can act as barriers to education. The character comes from a rough, poor-stricken background, but he is fortunate to find a loving home who even hires a tutor to help pull up his terrible grades to help him reach his full potential. Under their care, he grows by leaps and bounds to become a successful NFL prospect. And on a side note, this film kind of offers you hope if you have like sports as an outlet. So as I said with Billy Elliot, he's looking to become a dancer, an artist. Not everybody is into academics. In this film, he is an athlete. The Blind Side comes with many lessons, but I think the most motivating one is that no matter your circumstances, you can reach your goals if you set your mind to it. It also teaches us the importance of helping those around us, as at some stage we ourselves will need support. I really hope you watch it. Let me know in the comments what you think of it.
एक दिन मैं चला जाऊंगा पिया, एकदम से, बगैर बताए, the end. बहती हवा सा था वो.
So the last film to mention is by far one of the best films I've seen for a while. I appreciate that unless you speak the language, you will have to watch with English subtitles, but please do not let that put you off. The film Three Idiots is largely a comedy, but it's embedded with some very serious moments. In fact, it's really hard to watch at times. There are some serious comments about India's education system and the pressure young teenagers have in finding success. The story more or less is a coming of age story showing how three guys met at a very prestigious university in India and how each found their own happiness and success despite the obstacles in front of them. The obstacles are very real issues in India, such as pressure from parents to follow certain career paths or to become the breadwinner and help the family out of poverty. But this means taking part in an education system which is very old-fashioned, it's very tough, and it's centered ultimately on how much you remember on exams. The amount of pressure is incredibly intimidating and it's difficult to comprehend. If you're from the UK, from the US or most developed countries, the culture and the realities of these young Indian teenagers is miles apart from our own, and because of that, it's a huge impact on our own perspective. However, this film is ultimately heartwarming, and I think if you can find inspiration in that, no matter how tough things get, you should always follow your dreams and take control of your own future, happiness, and perhaps most importantly, you do it with your friends. If you're interested in Three Idiots, I do have a reaction to this film. I'll put it up at the top of the screen. But other than that, these have been my top 5 films suggested by you guys as well as myself. Please let me know what you think about it in the comments. My name's Joshua. As I've said, I've got a whole series based on this now. So top 5 films, law, finance, World War I. Please remember to check those videos out. Subscribe if you want to see more. And until next time, thank you for watching. Bye bye.